laity sits back while the clergy performs, and we go out for a nice family meal and go on with their normal lives. How well does that describe some of what we've been living? Maybe a lot of Christians have been that way. But he says that is not the faith or practice of the New Testament. That is not the gospel lived out. That is not being the church rather than going to church. That is not what Jesus died for. We go on to say that we are here to be his disciples and make disciples. We should live this and breathe this and think about this as a major part of our mission here on earth. Now, with the ongoing challenges of the pandemic, we have a great opportunity to do a major reset, to ask some deeper questions and to say, here I am, Lord, send me and use me. He said that back in 1999, he wrote, "How I hate white-collar religion, how I hate commercialism, how I hate Christianity within four walls. How I hate faith without fire, profession without passion, belief without burden. How I resonate with the total putting oneself into a thing mentality, even referring here to how godless rock stars threw themselves into their music. Why aren't we throwing ourselves into the Lord? If we could be so zealous for that which destroyed, why are we so tentative with that which gives life? And why are we going into our world, whatever world might be, and sharing our faith boldly?" He says, "Let us invade our communities with the good news of forgiveness and transformation through the cross. Let us shine our lights in our neighborhoods, offering hope and a new way of life, and let us use the four walls we're building as a base of operations, not a museum or a monument." It says, if not now, when? We're showing that we don't know what is ahead of us. Experts have shown they don't know. But with things I've read about how we are to be ready for a new way of ministry and not think about wanting to just get back to normal like we used to do church or how we used to be a witness, when you can't do things as maybe as easily as we did before. Now, where do we fit in? Are we recklessly on fire for Jesus? Are we at that point in life where we have just enough Jesus to be content where we are? Make us good enough. So that is not what Paul meant in Philippians 4:11, where he says that he has learned to be content in all circumstances. We're not to be content in that way. I'm very familiar in Revelation where John writes to the church at Ephesus, chapter 2, verse 4, "But I have this against you, that you have left your first love." And in 3, verse 1, the message to Sardis, "I know your deeds, that you have a name that you're alive, but you are dead." And I think how bad would it make us feel if we knew we were really dead when we thought we were alive? The first sentence of the FCFI preamble says, "The Fellowship of Christian Farmers International is irrevocably dedicated to the ministry of our Lord Jesus Christ among the farm, ranch, and agricultural industries." Back, how many years ago was it, Dennis?
1985, 35 years ago.
35 years ago. But that is put together. Ministry to farms, farm families, ag industry. That message really hasn't changed, except the world's a lot different today than what it was 35 years ago. So what are we going to do? I can look over congregation at church, what we have at church at this point, and even back before this pandemic, I see a lot of gray hair. And I kind of like to see the same thing here. A lot of gray hair means some a little bit no hair. But I'm not calling you Kendall. But with age comes responsibility for preparing the next generation. What kind of job have we done to bring on the next generation of farmers to participate in the fellowship? Again, things have changed around the world. There's not as many people interested in organizations what there used to be. Much more social media than what there ever was, as far as way of communication and meeting others. Mike Weaver may like this with reference to woodlots. Years ago, I used to think that, many years ago, I'd seen a woodlot that was nicely mowed and got these big, nice oak, maple trees or whatever might be out there. It's pretty, it's picturesque. But I've learned since then that what maybe used to be a woods at one time is dying. It's on its way out. Won't be too many years that woodlot is just going to be a grass lot. It may become a field that's grown corn beans or such. But we're in a woods that is growing and vibrant, has a lot of older trees, but in the undergrowth, there are a lot of younger trees of all different stages of growth. And I wonder with our fellowship, what we are now, what are we going to be like? We're going to be like that woodlot that looks nicely mowed? Or are we going to be one that's when this young trees coming on to take the place of the older ones who aren't going to be there that much longer? As a board, we're trying to do what we can, even though we are all in the older generations, to reach out to younger people through different types of social media. Whether it's going to be through Facebook or on Instagram and Twitter or Snapchat or I don't know how many other different ways there are, but things that we are not used to doing, that we need to learn how to use, how we can communicate with younger generations. If we don't make the connection with younger people to really be interested in what the fellowship is doing, in mentoring the farm families and going to farm shows and witnessing to people, passing out walking sticks, which really giving out God's message of salvation, we greatly cease to exist because there is no one left. We're all gone. That'd be in 10 years, 20, 30 years, I don't know. But if we don't connect with younger ones, I think you can see where we will be. It's not a matter of having enough money to make the problem go away, but it's a matter of connecting. And I think it even goes back to what Dr. Michael Brown was saying. If we're on fire for the Lord and being His witness, and that is shown throughout our lives and everything we're doing, I think there are connections will be made with younger people. Because they'll see something in us that, what is that? I want that. With the farm families, numbers dwindling, farms getting larger, this may get turned around some on this pandemic with maybe some smaller farms on growing their own food, 10 acres that may be selling to farmers markets or such, or different people may want to know where do want to know where their food is coming from. There may be a niche in there for small farms in that way. Maybe some smaller farmers be willing to be a part of this organization. But again, we need to figure out somehow to reach out to them if they don't know the Lord, that become Christians, to know the Lord and become passionate about Him as New Testament Christians were. But you know, it really comes down to, it's our decision what we want to do. If we can be content with where we are, I think that's good enough. Why, that's the way it'll be. But if we want to change, want to rock the boat, to get outside of our four walls, outside of our box, and trust God to make things happen, I don't want to be standing in the way. I'd much rather be right in the middle of what he's doing. So I think it's our choice. What do we want to be? What do we want to do? I don't want to come to conference another 10 years and we struggle to get 20 people here, everybody else is gone. So I don't want to be pessimistic, but we got a challenge ahead of us. We got a lot of ministry to do. There's a lot of people out here who don't know who Jesus is. They don't even care who he is. They in the world think they have the answers, but they are missing it. We know who's in control, who's in charge. We know who the Creator is. We know who has set the stage for each one of us to come to him. Thank you.